The G20 is the international forum that brings together the world's major economies. Its members account for more than 80% of the world's GDP, 75% of global trade, and 60% of the population of the planet. The forum has met every year since 1999 and includes, since 2008, a yearly summit with the participation of the respective heads of state and governments. Professor Jeffery Sachs is a Harvard-trained international sustainable development leader. He has served as a special advisor to 3 UN Secretaries General. I quizzed the foremost academic on what is the underpinning of his latest call to the Committee of Nations.
There are 19 countries plus the European Union that make up the 20 members of the G20. Only one of those 19 countries is in Africa. That's South Africa. That's about 60 million people out of the 1.4 billion people in Africa. So I say that because the European Union sits there as a group of nations, the African Union should sit there as a group of nations. In fact, of course, the African Union has roughly 3 times the population of the European Union. The African Union has 55 countries. It needs to be at the table.
He called on African leaders to take up the call for a chance to influence global policy at the highest level.
I hope that African Union leaders would take this up. My thought is a little bit unusual because most of the time when people talk about the G20, they talk about individual countries. And therefore, there has been discussion in the past that maybe Nigeria or Egypt or Ethiopia or another country in Africa should join. But I think the European Union precedent is really important because if the whole European Union is represented with one seat at the table, this is very a good precedent for Africa.
Professor Sachs also waded into the crisis of vaccine shortage for developing countries. He demanded transparency and equity in the distribution of vaccines and particularly called on African leaders to strengthen advocacy for access to vaccines.
The proportion of the African population with full vaccine protection is still around 2% because many African countries were expecting the COVAX international process to work, but COVAX didn't get the vaccines. The rich countries took them first, and then other countries that made separate deals with the companies got the vaccine, and COVAX just hasn't delivered properly. So my view, and I've been quite involved in the discussions on this, is that we are lacking a clear, transparent plan. That's another reason why I would like the AU to be at the table of the G20.